Good evening. I'll call to order the regular meeting of the Chisholm City Council for September 8th, 2021. Margaret, could you take a roll call?
Councillor Halverson.
Present.
Councillor Michalaraha.
Present.
Councillor Fountain.
Here.
Councillor Lance.
Here.
Councillor Vaki.
Here.
Mayor Champa.
Here. Adopt the agenda. Council looking for a motion to adopt the agenda. I believe there are no changes. Margaret, is that correct?
That is correct.
That's
I'll
a
make-
change, eh? Thank you, April. Second for April's motion.
Second, Marty.
Thank you, Marty. Margaret, take a vote. I'm gonna step away for 1 second, turn my light on.
Councillor Halverson.
Aye.
Councillor Michalaraha.
Aye.
Councillor Fountain.
Aye.
Councillor Lance.
Aye.
Councillor Vaki.
Aye.
Mayor Champa.
Aye. Okay, the agenda is adopted. Pledge of allegiance, folks.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Public participation tonight, Margaret? No? Okay, we'll move on. Reports, council reports. Let's start over on my right side with Adam tonight. Good evening, Adam. Report tonight.
Good evening, everybody. Just a couple things. We had our business meeting that we do every first Wednesday of every month at the fire department. And just want to congratulate Steve Brunette on 28 years of service. So congratulations, Steve. Also at the fire department, we are going to be up at the Museum of Mining for Kiwanis Kids Day on September 16th. Setting up a little obstacle course for the kids. So it's going to be a fun afternoon. And just quickly with the Museum of Mining, I'm the council liaison, and I also was asked to be a director over there as a citizen, which I did take them up on that. And I just recently resigned because I cannot make the meetings. So it has not been beneficial for them getting a quorum together for the third Monday of every month. So I stepped away from that so I wouldn't hinder any of their progress by not having a board present. So if there's anybody out there in the community who wants to get involved in a board, the Museum of Mining is looking for directors. And also with that, as a council liaison, I wanted to bring it up and just throw it out there. If any other councilors would like to go to any of their meetings, see how things work up there, I would invite you to, because it just does not work with my schedule. It conflicts with the fire department, our maintenance nights, and it just has not been working out. So if anybody else would like to step in there, let me know and I will give you all the contact information. But other than that, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Adam. Cheyenne, report tonight. Good evening.
Thank you, Mayor. No report.
Thank you, Cheyenne. Travis, report tonight. Good evening.
Good evening. Hope everybody is doing well. Yeah, I got a couple things here. First thing is the big shout out, huge shout out to people who painted their garbage cans. It was fantastic. I've heard numerous compliments from people who do not live in Chisholm on how amazing it was. Not to mention all the Chisholm people who loved it. So thank you to those who did that. We are in the process of voting, so results will be coming shortly. Second thing is the Community Foundation is holding a burger bash on September 29th. Tickets are $10 and all proceeds go to the Chisholm Community Foundation. So I do have tickets if anybody wants any. Otherwise, all of the board members do, and you can also call the CCF office for that. Let's see. There's a couple other things that I wanted to touch on that I'm drawing blanks on. But I guess I'll just end by saying happy birthday to Steph.
Thank you, Travis. April, report tonight. Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening, everyone. I'm just gonna tap onto Councillor Vaki's garbage can street art contest. Congratulations to everyone that participated. We had 27 participants this year, and I want to thank Councillor Vaki, and I would like also to thank Larry Falstead and all the councillors and community members that we could have this contest for our community, and everyone who took the time to participate. Also with that, I wanted to say that all of the, I had it written down here, I'm sorry. All of the pictures are being displayed at the Chisholm City Hall, Chisholm Public Library, and the Chisholm Chamber of Commerce. Along with the beautiful display of art, we are reaching out on social media and on so our Facebook page, the City of Chisholm Facebook page, and the Chisholm Chamber of Commerce City Facebook page. So great job, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, April. Yeah, some of the garbage cans were absolutely amazing. One of them that's really, really basic, the one with the little raccoon climbing the can, I just loved it. That was a really creative one there. So, but some of them are just absolutely phenomenal. All right, Marty, good evening. Report tonight, sir.
Good evening, everyone. I attended a park and recreation meeting yesterday, and our trail contractor Rock Solid is remobilizing to Redhead, I think as of today. So they should be back out there starting today to finish that work. They'll be out there for probably about 3 weeks, and hopefully the rain doesn't slow them down too much. That's all I have.
Marty, just a comment. I took a ride down there with Larry the other day. We wanted to look at the possibility of allowing fishing in the mine pit, which kind of came up at the last meeting. And when you come down, when you go down the ATV trail on basically when you first start down the hill, there's a couple of places the bike trail crosses. And like I said, we were talking about everything and we're looking at different things. And I had never really been down there since I was a kid, literally. But I noticed when we crossed the trails, I didn't get this, glowing effect that there was a trail coming up there you'd be crossing with an ATV, maybe it is, and I didn't notice it. I just thought about it today and I thought, geez, I didn't really notice as we were driving down there that there's a really defined that there's these bike trails crossing in 2 spots. So if we can just look into that, make sure I just didn't notice it. Obviously with ATVs, they definitely need to know there's bike trails crossing where they do cross. So maybe there is a big sign. I didn't notice it. And, you can't see the bikes this time of the year until they're on the trail because it's green, So if it is well marked, where an ATV would see it, disregard, but I didn't really notice. I know it didn't jump out at me for sure.
Yeah, there were signs at one point. There were stop signs on the ATV trail, and I haven't been there for a while. Maybe the signs are gone now. But I guess the other thing I thought of is now that we put that crushed concrete on the ATV trail, maybe we should put red material at the crossings. I think that would help mark it better. Just so you see that red strip of material, that's a trail crossing.
Yeah.
And I don't know what happened. If maybe the signs are gone now, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, and they may have been there. Like I said, Larry stopped right at the first one because he wanted to show me what the black diamond looked like, which, by the way, that's quite impressive where it crosses. But so I wasn't really looking for the signs. I just noticed they didn't just jump out at me. And if there is a pretty defined stop sign there, then we are covered. So that's all.
It's there, Mayor. It's just kind of small. We'll have to go take another look now that you say that, because they are kind of small. And it's a stop sign on a redhead sign, so it kind of matches the theme, which is like that rusty brown. So I could see when you're not looking for them that they might not jump out at you like a regular big stop sign for sure.
Okay. All right. Like I said, it was a couple of days later, it just occurred to me that we had crossed the trail in a couple of spots and it just didn't jump out at me that we were crossing the trail. So that's all. Thank you, Marty. Myself for a report tonight. As you know, all of you know at this point, the Schnorr Mud Fest Fishing with Vets 20th anniversary of 911 celebration is coming up this Saturday. You know, a lot of people, I've heard a few, I won't say they're concerns, but a few people mentioned, boy, wouldn't it be nice if people raised money and took me fishing on Lake Superior or Lake of the Woods. And, Todd Schnorr, who was actually the person that started the event, Todd is a combat veteran, battles his own demons a little bit at times. And until you do some of that stuff, you don't realize that when these people come back from active combat, that the best thing you can do for them is get them out doing things. And the money they raise, and then, just reaching out to veterans that struggle a little bit and just getting them out to, be with their fellow brothers that served with them and stuff is, it's nice. Todd reached out to me last year and asked if I knew any veterans from Chisholm. And I actually, I reached out some of the Vietnam veterans that from back in the day, and they took a few of them up to Lake of the Woods. So really a great event. Basically, the main street will be closed for the majority of the day. 9 o'clock is the real lineup. 8, 9, 10 o'clock is when the ATVs will be showing up and lining up on the main street. They're going to do a color guard, obviously a little bit of military based because of celebration, or I should say remembrance of 20th anniversary of 911. 10 o'clock, going to do a parade out of town, escorted out of town by the police. I think fire trucks, ambulance, everybody's going to help out, so that's always good. They're going to use the ATV trail, the Northern Tracks ATV trail this year. A little bit easier to keep track of everybody. You get out in the mines and everybody goes different directions. It's hard to get them back. There's going to be a luncheon up at the Chisholm Sportsman's Club area up north of Chisholm. And then they're going to head back from there and try to get back here by 5 o'clock for dinner at Tom and Jerry's. 7 to 11, the band will be playing. And they adjusted the fireworks display a little bit. It looks like with the rain, pretty much been raining for a week now, which is great overall. Hopefully they will be able to have them when they make the call at the last minute to make sure. But they're going to start the fireworks right at 911, so 9/11, which is kind of a neat little twist on that. So, and then the events, after all the drawings and everything take place, the event will be over at 11 o'clock that night. Obviously, if you want to stay up down, the bars will be open until later. But I think his little quip at the end was, you don't have to go home. You just can't stay here. But I think he put that the bars will be open. So that's good. Our ambulance director started today. She's on with us after all our staff go through their reports. I'll have her come in last and introduce herself. I have not met her myself. I was busy today. I'd hoped to be able to get in, but I'm sure she had plenty on her plate. Talking to Stephanie and trying to figure out what her job is actually going to entail here. So I'll have her come in and introduce herself. I didn't want to throw her first on the list, even though with her last name, she'll probably be first at the next meeting as far as our department heads. So, and as I mentioned, Larry and I did look at the mine pit. And when we talk about that a little bit later, I'll tell you what I think about that. So, Council, anything on that before we move on to our department heads? All right, we'll jump right into our department heads with building official Mandy Galley. Good evening, Mandy. Report tonight.
Good evening, Mayor and Council members. We did have a planning commission meeting last night, and we do have a special meeting scheduled for next Monday. I don't think we'll be having a quorum for that Monday, so I'm trying to reschedule that meeting to the Tuesday after. Other than that, I have an IRRB resolution request to accept grant funds for, actually, it's going to be 1 duplex, 2 houses, and 6 garages to be removed. Those have been on the list, and we want to get those demoed before the end of the year. That's pretty much all I have.
Thank you, Mandy. Council, anything for Mandy? Thank you, Mandy. Economic Development, Stephanie, report on that tonight. Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor and Council members. I do just have a quick report. The EDA board is meeting on Friday. It's going to be a longer budget meeting so we can prepare for next year. Moving forward, getting our projects in order. That's all I have.
Happy birthday, by the way.
Thanks.
And you enjoyed your vacation?
I did very much.
I wish I would have known it was your birthday today. We could have had a meeting tomorrow instead. Give me one more day. Council, anything for Stephanie? City engineer, is Jim on tonight? I didn't see him. He's not here. Okay,
No,
we'll jump it. We'll jump past that. Public Works, Larry, report tonight.
Evening, everyone. Thank you. Just a few things. We decided not to hire that casual labor, so we did push back our OSHA required training, getting back towards the end of the year. Probably right around deer hunting season, a little bit before maybe when things slow down a little bit. We're still going full bore in Public Works and public utilities, so. Brushing around the lake, that we're continuing discussion on that. We met with, I met with Kim from the DNR, so we got some advice there, and we'll keep talking about that. We finished up our big alley project. Excited. Everyone is pretty excited. There's some that aren't, of course, and some people want a alley back that's paved, and so, but we're going to continue to work through those things. If you've driven around at all, or you haven't, I welcome you. The northwest side, we did a lot of work up to the Vaughan, nothing really beyond the Vaughan. And then the southwest side, we did quite a bit. So take a look, even with these rains, they've held up really good so far. We hope that it just keeps going that way into fall and keep, and we're addressing a few little things here and there. We got some soft spots where there was clay for a sub-material and there wasn't a good base. So we'll dress up those and keep pushing towards fall and working on our projects. We're still plugging away down at the skating shack for Tammy and stuff and the skaters this year. So, and then the Schnorrfest, we're setting up overtime and employees and garbage cans and equipment for that. And then I'm working on the budgets for next week's budget meeting. That's what's going on in Public Works.
Thank you,
And
Larry.
I welcomed Jess to the team and met her today, so that was nice.
Thank you, Larry. Council, anything on what Larry brought up?
Hey, I did drive the alleys for the most part, and I think there's just this period of time that people need to adjust a little bit. But if you are concerned, my recommendation would be to go drive the cemetery roads, because that's what they'll end up being like. So that's all I'll say on it.
It's a really good point. Thank you, Councilor Vonti, because, there's this silty little bit of a top. It almost looks like sand, black sand, and that's going to wash in. Some of it's going to wash down, and we'll pick it up with the sweepers and that. But if you go to the cemetery, you'll see a gravelly material that really, really hardened up nice. And then if you drive just a little bit further, if you don't think there's any gravelly alleys in town, if you drive just a little bit further, maybe past your neighbor's house or wherever there's a lot of gravel alleys in this city. So, and we take care of them. So we think it's going to work out nicely. So.
Thank you, Larry. All right, moving on. Fire Chief Chris, good evening. Report tonight.
Yeah, good evening, Mayor. Nothing to report for tonight.
Thank you. Council, anything for the Fire Chief? Easy night for you. I don't think I seen Katie on here, did I tonight? No? All right.
No, she's not on.
Okay. Police Chief, good evening. Vern, report tonight.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Council. Thank you very much. just quickly, we had, you'll see Campbell Bergsted's name on for resolution for his para. He started last week, doing well in his training, and Sunday we have Justin Oswald will be starting Sunday. So some of you will be able to see Mr. Bergsted. We'll have him downtown for the snow ride and the festivities on Saturday afternoon. So feel free to stop up and say hi and meet the new officer. Other than that, I have nothing else.
Vern, just what's the thing? A Facebook, one of them things that takes off running away, and it's completely inaccurate, that you only give certain people parking tickets. Could you explain just publicly for us that you write parking tickets when you guys aren't busy? And
Well,
it could be every night, but it could be a night you don't do it because you're busy all night, and we're not just skipping people on purpose.
well, it is true, Mr. Mayor. We only give certain people parking tickets, the ones who are parked illegally. So, yeah, that's one of the things that people get. We try to remain as consistent as possible because that's kind of the biggest complaint is we're not consistent. So we try to do it every single night. But we, if they're busy, yeah, it takes a backstage to anything that criminally is going on. So, and another mishap that happens is we go out and write the parking tickets at, let's say it's usually after bar close, like after 2 a.m. And we go out and write them, and then other cars pull up, or other people pull their tickets out before other people see them. But if we're writing, we're consistent, and we write the whole block and we write the whole town. So there has been times where we've gotten halfway through the town and they get a call and they can't come back to them. But those are usually the complaints that happen is people don't see the other citations on cars and wonder why. But we do go consistently.
Thank you, Vern, for that. Council, anything for Vern before we move on? Thank you, Vern. Rec Director Tammy, report tonight. Good evening.
Yes, good evening, Mayor, Council. Just a few items. Flag football registration for 4th through 6th grade. We are accepting now through September 13th. We are accepting applications for skating rink attendance. Those are due to September 24th. In the next couple of weeks, we're going to have a crack sealing done on the Longyear walking trail, the Southside basketball court, and if there's enough funds, we'll also be doing the skate park. We have partnered with the Mesabi Trail and the St. Louis County Railroad Authority, so we got a really good price on units, and that's what's been happening.
Thank you, Tammy. Council, any questions for Tammy at this point? Thank you, Tammy. City Attorney Brian, report tonight.
Thank you, Mayor. No formal report, but I am happy to answer any questions the council may have.
Council, anything for Brian? Brian, I have a quick one. And it made me think of something that I forgot to mention, that the running event at the, who is it, the United Way is putting on? I believe it's the United Way. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. That's at the Redhead. But Brian, we're working through some logistics up at the Redhead. That's obvious, for example, with the run up there this weekend, we had to make sure that the parts of the park that are not being used were left open for insurance purposes and things like that. One of the logistics that seems like it's kind of coming to the forefront has to do with the kayaking, canoeing, and paddle boarding, stand-up boarding, whatever you call them. Do you have any concerns about the use of the water down there in general? Anything that's coming to you? I could have sent you an email, but I wanted to have the whole council, because, Larry and I actually went down and looked to see if we could allow fishing, but, I just want to make sure we're allowed to use the water. I don't know, thoughts?
Yeah, and so, Mayor, it's an interesting question, and I'll give the best answer that I can. I'm not per se concerned about any use or activity that may occur down at the water. The way that the land leases, that our leases are set up, in order for an activity to be undertaken down at any part in the leased premises there, in the leased area of the park, the city has to approve it and the IRRR has to not object to it. And so, for example, I know that the MDC had brought a plan forward about the use of some kayaks and some things. The city approved that plan. That's the appropriate course. The reason that I don't have a lot of concern generally is because anything that's happening down at the water formally would have to be approved by the city. And the one thing that we've got to be careful about is to make sure that as different uses and different things are brought to the council for approval, we just have to make sure that the use of the park stays open to the public and free of charge for use. And so, we can allow some use down at the water. We can allow and restrict activities as we think is safest and best, most beneficial for everyone. But once an activity is approved, we can't prevent people from undertaking that activity just because they're not going to, pay or offer some compensation. So everybody's got to be given an equal opportunity, which isn't to say that, somebody can't provide like MDC can't provide a paid service to offer a shuttle down, but you just can't stop folks who say, I choose to walk down with my kayak or carry it down by a permitted four-wheeler or ATV use, so long as you're on those designated trails to get down. Does that answer your question, Mayor?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Like I said, we're looking at it, potentially expanding that. We had some requests to actually fish in there, and I'd like to have a discussion, start it tonight, maybe finish it at the next meeting. So, yeah. So I was concerned if everything we're doing at this point seems okay, and sounds like it does. Council, anything for the attorney? Thank you, Brian. Okay, so next we'll bring in our new ambulance director, Jess Davis. Good evening, Jess. Welcome aboard. How are you this evening?
Hi, everybody. Jess Davis, and I'm doing well. I'm excited to get started. Meeting everybody, and I apologize in advance. I'm horrible with names, so please don't take that as an insult to anybody, but I'll do my best, and I just want to make myself available to anybody if anyone has any questions at any point in time.
Well, we're certainly happy you're here, Jess. I know I am, and I'll probably find some time tomorrow to stop in and say hi. It was
Excellent.
It was a little bit hectic today. I was working in a bulk oil facility. I was black from head to toe. Just bad day to meet. So,
fair enough.
Anything for Jess at this point?
Welcome to.
Thank you.
All right. Like I said, I didn't want to throw her under the bus and make her go first tonight, but she brings quite a resume with her. So my guess is she's been thrown under the bus enough times to think she could take on an ambulance director's job. So welcome aboard, and we'll catch up with you later this week. All right, Council, that concludes our report section. We'll move on to consent agenda. These are your list of bills that came onto your email a little while ago. Our communications, which are the fire department minutes. Minutes of our previous city council meeting, August 23rd, 2021. Special meeting, August 25th, 2021. Regular meeting, payroll, and overtime. Council, can I get a motion to accept the consent agenda?
Motion.
Thank you, Travis. Second for that motion.
Support.
Thank you, Adam. Corrections, comments, concerns on the consent agenda?
Mayor, hi, good evening. This is Eileen.
Good evening, Eileen. Oh, I forgot you guys at the end. Oh my God.
Oh my gosh. Well, let Stephanie go first.
Hold on, let me vote on the consent agenda. We'll go back to you. How's that? I was so excited to get to Jess, I forgot the main people. Mark, you want to take a vote on the consent agenda, and I'll jump back to Eileen and Stephanie.
Counselor Halverson.
Aye.
Counselor Michelaraha.
Aye.
Counselor Fountain.
Aye.
Counselor Lance.
Aye.
Counselor Vaki.
Aye.
Mayor Champa.
Aye. Okay, that motion passes. Okay, so we'll go back. You want Stephanie to start first? Good evening, Steph.
Good evening. I don't have a report. Thank you.
Okay. Eileen?
Good evening, Mayor and council members. I just wanted to remind everyone of our first draft budget discussion scheduled for next Wednesday, the 15th at 5 p.m. I'll be sending a Zoom invitation on the morning of Wednesday, September 15th. And I'll be sending out the packets for your review on Monday afternoon. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Eileen. Council, anything for Eileen? All right. I'll move on. All right, new business. Mandy, resolution 0921-74 Iron Range Resource Rehabilitation Board Residential Development Grant.
Yes, so this resolution request is to accept funds from the IRRB Residential Redevelopment Program. And it is to include all of the addresses that you do see on the resolution itself. 2 of the properties are tax forfeit. 1 of the properties the council did approve in order to raise a hazardous building. And the owner was given 130 days to respond. And we are well past that time right now. So I do believe, Attorney Lindsay, if you are in agreement, we are okay to raise that property as it sits currently.
That's, I believe we are, and I did actually reach out for not only to the property owner once again, but also to the attorney that had been representing that owner and have received no additional response.
Okay, so we're okay. We're ready to go for demo on that. So I'm just asking for approval to apply and accept funds from the IRRB.
Mandy, Mr. Mayor, I have a question for Mandy.
Go ahead, April.
Thank you. Mandy, is this property on the 4th Street Northwest?
The 4th Street Northwest property, what about it?
Is this the property you're talking about with council or with Attorney Lindsay?
That one.
That is going to be ready for demo?
Yes, it is. No, it's
Okay.
319 3rd Avenue Northwest is the one that the council approved to remove the hazardous building. The other 2 are tax forfeit, and then the other applications are only garages, and they're privately owned.
Okay. One more question for you, Mandy. This is great. You're doing a great job. Thank you for applying for these grants and the funding. Did we get all of the houses and garages and everything that you got grant funding from last year demoed?
Yes.
Besides this property?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep,
Thank you.
everything's been raised to date currently.
I'd like to make that motion, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, April. Okay, April made a motion to adopt resolution 0921-74. Is there a second for that?
Support.
Thank you, Cheyenne. Further discussion?
Mayor, I do have a comment.
Go ahead, Eileen.
During our meeting with Bonnie, with Sterling Company, she met with myself and Stephanie. And Stephanie, I would appreciate your feedback as well. She did mention that approving or adopting resolutions that do what we're doing here, where we make the application and we accept funds, isn't something that we should do. Stephanie, can you chime in? Do you recall that conversation?
Yes, I do. I believe what Bonnie was saying was there's basically 2 different ways to do these types of resolution. The auditors would prefer if we applied for the resolution, we applied for the grant, and then we would do another resolution to accept the funds once they came through.
Right, the documentation is really important to represent the funds that we actually accept. So obviously, I mean, we're right, you're voting on it now, so I don't think we want to change that, but maybe going forward, we should do it different. What do you think, Stephanie?
Correct. Moving forward, you'll probably see more resolutions coming through at 2 different phases. If the grant application requires a resolution, there'll be the apply for the grant. And then there will also be another resolution that comes through if we actually receive the grant to accept it. The auditors would prefer to see that second resolution for acceptance. But they also said this is fine. We can approve this one tonight.
Thank you for your recollection, Stephanie. Thanks, Mayor.
The grant application does require the resolution to be in it.
Mandy, does it require us to do both steps?
The grant application only requires us to do the resolution to accept the funds. It does not require a resolution after, but if the auditors do, we can definitely do that.
So in order for you to even apply, we have to say we're going to accept the funds, is what you just said. So we have to do this particular one this way.
Right. I need to include the actual resolution itself in the grant application.
And it has to say that we accept the funds as well.
Yes.
Brian, do you have any input on this? Any thoughts? I know you represent more than just Chisholm on things, so.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, this is a convenient and efficient way to do it. Obviously, splitting the two and perfecting the record keeping the way that the auditors want. If it satisfies the auditors, it's both ways, as Stephanie had indicated, both ways are legally acceptable. And if it meets in better terms with the auditors, there's absolutely no issue in breaking these two apart to make the record keeping cleaner for them.
Brian, in a case like this where they want to see that we'll accept the funds with the initial resolution, do we just come back with another resolution when we actually get the funds accepting them at that point, or what?
Correct. I think what we could do is in a case like this, the resolution should clearly indicate that we authorize our agent to pursue the funds, and that it would be the intention of the city to receive the funds upon allocation or if awarded. And then once awarded, we could bring back a second resolution that indicates that funds were awarded and the city now officially accepts them.
Okay. We'll send Stephanie over to talk to you about that, exactly how we write that.
Mr. Mayor.
Anything else? Go ahead, Travis, sorry.
I was just going to say that so I just recently applied for IRRB funds for my job, and Mandy's right. They do require a resolution that you apply and accept, because I had to do that as well. So I think it depends on the funding source. But the IRRB in this case, they do require the acceptance.
Okay. Council, if there's nothing else, we do have a motion by April, I believe, and second by Cheyenne to adopt a resolution. I'll ask Margaret to take a vote.
Counselor Halverson.
Aye.
Counselor Michelaraha.
Aye.
Counselor Fountain.
Aye.
Counselor Lance.
Aye.
Counselor Vaki.
Aye.
Mayor Champa.
Aye. Okay, that resolution is adopted and passed. Thank you, Mandy. Next item, Headwaters Entertainment Contract. Stephanie, good evening.
Good evening. This is a follow-up from the presentation from Matt Roy at last council meeting. Attorney Lindsay had drafted this lease agreement. We're bringing it back to council today for approval on the agreement from what was discussed at the last meeting.
Council looking for a motion to approve the lease agreement.
I'll make that motion, Mr. Mayor. I did watch the council meeting via YouTube when I wasn't present, so I was up to date and up to speed on everything. So I'm for this. This is great. I'll make that motion, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, April. Second for that motion.
Support.
Thank you, Cheyenne. April, did we get a lot of hits on that? Enough to make us all famous, or?
Oh, we're famous for sure. Yes.
So just a comment. Some of you know this already, some don't. We have some drain issues up on that roof that we're trying to address right now. Pretty substantial work that needs to be completed. I don't know how I mean, I'm not against this lease, but I think we need to know up front that we're going to have to do some repairs on that roof. And I believe we have some. Stephanie, did we get some estimates on what it potentially could cost to do some of that work? I think I
Yes,
heard.
yes, we did. Mandy had received those estimates. I believe it was in the $70,000 to $80,000 range, if that's correct, Mandy.
Yes, there were actually two estimates because the bids were split up into two. There's actually two projects that need to be done, the actual repair of the roof itself and then the repair of the roof drains.
So council, just so you know, I mean, if we move ahead with this, and like I said, I'm not trying to discourage it in no way, that we are going to have to, our conversation very shortly is going to have to be about if they accept their side of this. We're trying to figure out, I think if you recall, if in the last meeting, he had asked about utilities. We're trying to put all that information together so Headwaters can make a educated decision on their website too, as well, with all the information. So, but if we're both in agreement with this, obviously we're going to have to look at them roof repairs. So if they do move ahead, so. Council, anything else to add before we take a vote? We do have a motion and support.
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Go ahead, Marty.
I see in Article 1.2 that the parties can extend the lease for 1 year and then another year with the same terms, which means I guess the rent is going to stay fixed. I guess depending on how things go, it'd be nice if that was a negotiable item rather than just sticking to the same rent for 2 more years. I guess if nothing much is happening, I don't have a problem staying with the 1,500. But if the thing takes off, I think the city should be getting more rent money than 1,500 a month. That's all I have.
Thank you, Marty. Brian, you kind of put this together. Is Marty accurate on what he said there, that it is they could stay there for the 1,500 for up to 3 years, 1,500 per month?
That is correct, Mayor. So the way that it's built, it's in 1 year terms and there's 2 extension options. And so we could do a couple of things. We could build in that that the extension on all terms except price, and that price would have to be renegotiated every year. Or we could put an escalator clause in that would have it going up each year by a set amount. And as far as approval tonight, the council could amend the motion and have the approval contingent on amending to incorporate one of those provisions.
I kind of agree with Marty on this myself, that we should at least leave the door open. I don't think it harms anything. I don't think it's a deal breaker. If they're just plugging away and not doing great things, I mean, we're going to be hard pressed to get more than we're getting now, even after a year. Thoughts on the April? Thoughts on that? Would you consider that?
I agree, Mr. Mayor. I'll amend my motion. And I'm thankful that Marty caught that, because you guys did talk about that in the last meeting. So I'll just wait for Cheyenne here, Mr. Mayor.
Cheyenne, would you look at amending your second as well to basically leave that door open so that at the end of the year, they're entitled to an extension, but we're also entitled to look at what we're charging them per month, basically.
Yep, I will amend my support.
Brian, is that adequate to kind of the way I defined it there? And you know what to change this to?
It is. So would we like to have the clause amended such that at the close of each session, or at the close of each year term, the parties would get together and discuss price?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll make that motion, Mr. Mayor, with that amended clause.
Okay. And Cheyenne, you're okay with the second for that as well? Okay. Council, anything else on this, lease?
I had something to add there too. Great catch with the cost there, but also one thing with the 1 year lease. After a year, if they're not doing anything in there, we might want to be looking for new tenants that are going to be developing and building and growing. So that was another reason to have 1 year term. So, if it's planning out and nothing's being done, we don't want to extend to another year term, even at more cost. We want to bring something that's going to bring more jobs to this town. So if this doesn't look like it's doing that after a year, or it doesn't look like it's progressing to do it, I think that we have to be ready and able to step out of the contract and explore other options. That was just my take on the 1 year lease.
I can agree on that on one hand, but I don't know if I would want to go along with that. Because that's a pretty decent lease, even where it is. I mean, considering what we had nothing before. It's empty space. They're going to be paying the heating. Now we don't have to pay, and the utilities down there. I hate to make this thing so difficult, Adam, that we chase them away either, I mean, if you were going to,
I think that we got to be working with them, but obviously, if we're going to put $80,000 into a roof to make $1,500 a month, we should be making sure that whatever company is in there is going to be, returning that investment to the community.
One more thing, Mr. Mayor, I'm just going to comment on Mr. Lance's comment here. That is a capital improvement project for our City Hall building. No matter what, we have to look at it as we have to improve that building no matter what. Unless you want to just demo it, I mean, I don't think it's worth doing that,
Thank you, April. Thoughts, Adam brought forward a point. Anybody else want to comment on it? We do have a motion and support to move ahead with the lease with just the one change, which is the look at that monthly sum at the end of each 1 year term. If not, we'll vote on that motion. Margaret?
Counselor Halverson.
Aye.
Counselor Michalaraha.
Aye.
Counselor Fountain.
Aye.
Counselor Lance.
Aye.
Counselor Vaki.
Aye.
Mayor Champa.
Aye. That motion carries. Thank you, Stephanie. We'll move on to Vern. Resolution number 0921-75, para for police officer Campbell Bergstead. Pretty much a housekeeping item. We do this with all our employees when we bring them on. So they're part of the Retirement Association. Vern, you got anything to add other than we need to do this?
Nope, sir, you handle it all.
Council motion to adopt resolution 0921-75.
I will make that motion, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Travis. Second for that motion.
Second, Marty.
Thank you, Marty. Council, further discussion. Margaret?
Counselor Halverson.
Aye.
Counselor Michalaraha.
Aye.
Counselor Fountain.
Aye.
Counselor Lance.
Aye.
Counselor Vaki.
Aye.
Mayor Champa.
Aye. Okay, that motion carries. Next item, MAPE MOU for ambulance director. Council, let me explain this a little bit. It's kind of a little bit strange with Jess starting today and me bringing this to you. I want to tell you what happened. As you know, Stephanie went on vacation for about 10 days, I think it was. And we met basically the day she was walking out the door. And we start thinking about, God, I hope we don't have any problems with her job. My God, she's going to be starting the day after you get back. And, the MAPE Union pretty much said there's no issues. I mean, should we have something that says there's really no issues? I mean, I hate to have something come up the day she starts or the next day. So we asked Brian about it, our attorney, and he said, you really don't need one, but it doesn't hurt anything. It's a good record to have in the records. We're creating a new job. Talking to MAPE, they said it really wasn't needed either. And Stephanie and I just felt that, let's just do it. It's a good record to have in the records. We know when we created the ambulance director position, we know that the union is okay with the ambulance director position. We didn't know if we'd be able to get it back to you. If you looked at your email, just earlier today, it's actually in your email, Brian. They got it signed and they got it back to us. So we weren't sure if we were going to have it here, but looking for a motion at this point to accept that MOU that the MAPE Union is accepting that ambulance director job with no concerns were brought forward. So I think it's a nice, clean. We should have done it sooner. That's all. If I had anything to say, Stephanie, you got anything to add to that?
Nope.
So. Council, let's just looking for a motion just to accept that MOU and put it on record so it's part of the union contract. And I think it's good housekeeping.
I'll make the motion, Mr. Mayor. Marty.
Thank you, Marty.
Support.
Thank you, Travis. Council, any other discussion? Margaret?
Counselor Halverson.
Aye.
Counselor Mikala Raha.
Aye.
Counselor Fountain.
Aye.
Counselor Lance.
Aye.
Counselor Vaki.
Aye.
Mayor Champa.
Aye. The motion carries. All right, my items. Resolution 0921-76 proclamation infants remembrance in silence. Council, this one is actually kind of touches my own heart. My wife and I had a child that passed away at 3 days old. So we get a motion in a second. I'll read this proclamation for y'all and then we'll approve it.
I'll make that motion, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, April. Second for that.
Support.
Thank you, Cheyenne. All right, so let me read this for all. Resolution number 0921-76, Pregnancy and Infant Loss Remembrance Day. Whereas Infants Remembered in Silence Incorporated and many other nonprofit organizations work with thousands of parents all over Minnesota and across the United States who have experienced the death of a child during pregnancy through early childhood. And whereas many of these parents live in, deliver in, have a child die in, or bury a child in our community. And whereas Infants Remembered in Silence Incorporated, a 501c3 nonprofit organization, was founded in 1987, 34 years ago, to offer support for parents whose child or children died from miscarriage, ectopic pregnancy, molar pregnancy, stillbirth, neonatal death, birth defects, sudden unexpected death of a child, sudden infant death syndrome, illness, accidents, and all other types of infants and early childhood death. And whereas bereaved parents around the world remember their child annually on October 15th with candle lighting at 7 p.m. Some will remember children in their homes, while others will remember them in small gatherings around the state, across the nation, and around the world. And this would unify those parents in tribute to their children. And whereas in 1988, President Ronald Reagan proclaimed October as National Pregnancy and Infant Loss Awareness Month. And whereas in honor of the thousands of children that die each year in Minnesota, Infants Remembered in Silence Incorporated respectfully requests that October 15th, 2020 be recognized as Pregnancy and Infant Loss Remembrance Day. Now therefore, I, the mayor of the city of Chisholm, Minnesota, do hereby proclaim October 15th in the year of 2021 as Pregnancy and Infant Loss Remembrance Day. Council, any comments before we take a vote? A good cause. Margaret?
Counselor Halverson.
Aye.
Counselor Michelaraha.
Aye.
Counselor Fountain.
Aye.
Counselor Lance.
Aye.
Counselor Baki.
Aye.
Mayor Champa.
Aye. That motion carries. All right, application for Chisholm Hampton Airport Authority. Margaret, I apologize, I didn't have a chance to talk to you about this. Just renewing for another, what, 3 years? Is that what?
That's correct.
Only person that applied?
That's correct.
Council, Terry's currently serves on our airport authority. He does a great job there. Looking for a motion to allow Terry to serve another term on the airport authority.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. Travis, second for that.
Second, Marty.
Thank you, Marty. Further discussion? Margaret?
Counselor Halverson.
Aye.
Counselor Michelaraha.
Aye.
Counselor Fountain.
Aye.
Counselor Lance.
Aye.
Counselor Baki.
Aye.
Mayor Champa.
All right. Okay, motion carries. Redhead access to water. Council, I put this as informational / action item. It says on the actual thing. I wanted to give you an update. Travis brought it up at the last meeting, and Larry also brought it up that there are some individuals that used to go down there with an ATV and a small boat and use trolling motors, and they got them down there, like I said, with an ATV. And because we hadn't officially approved it in any form or fashion on a council level, they kind of can't do it. We actually have to, like Brian said earlier, we have to accept an activity such as that. Larry and I did take a ride down there last Friday, I believe it was. We took a ride down. No problem. If you hauled a small boat down there with an ATV, I mean, it's no different than putting a kayak or a canoe in the water. It goes, it starts at no water and it just keeps getting deeper. So there's plenty of areas to slide a boat in there. So I don't have any concerns. There's also, if you've been down there, to park some ATVs down there while you're boating or whatnot, there's plenty of room. There's room all over down there. I do not believe we're ever going to have an issue with parking a few vehicles down there while people are enjoying that area. I didn't want to push it through tonight, but my thoughts on it would be, if you can get it down there with an ATV, 12-foot boat or something like that, and use trolling motors, I can't see why we would be against it. I think that's fair. And the people that have been doing it, that's what they've been doing. They've been hauling small boats down there, and they've been using trolling motors. So I was looking for some little bit of criteria that maybe we can bring it back and try to hone it in for final approval next meeting. Thoughts from the council? Like you said, we don't want big people hauling 16-foot boats down there with 30-horse motors and zooming around in a mine pit. I don't know how the rest of the council feels about that, but my thoughts are, if it was a smaller boat with a trolling motor, so you're limiting the noise and everything else down there, I don't see any difference between that than fishing out of a canoe, which we would already allow. So, thoughts, council?
Go ahead, April.
I was just gonna ask the mayor if Marty could speak about it, being the liaison, just to get his thoughts and share them.
Marty, you're up there probably more than any of us. Are you hearing anything that would concern you? That's, I guess, might be considered a conflict.
No, I don't think so. I mean, there's if it's ATVs pulling small boats down there and launching them, I don't think that would be a problem or an issue at all. In fact, I think it'd be a good thing. It'd be to get more people down there. I think we might want to be concerned about the size of the boat, the motor, like you said. I don't think we want large boats speeding around down there, water skiing and whatnot, or going fast. I mean, I could see, maybe small boats, and maybe we have to have a horsepower limit at least to start with, like, I don't know, under 10 or something, so that, limits it to like electric motors and trolling motors, so people are genuinely down there to fish and enjoy the water and not go speeding around. I guess, I think as long as they use an ATV to bring it down, it's not an issue. I believe the trail is limited to ATVs and maintenance vehicles only, so they can pull a boat and a trailer down there with ATV. I think we should support that.
Adam, Travis, I think you were trying to chime in a little bit too.
I guess I'm not sure yet. I'm not a huge fan of placing a certain restriction. I will say that, but I guess I would be in favor of postponing it until the next meeting so I can go down there myself. And I guess I need to be down there in order for me to vote yes to restrict what can go down there.
That's fair. Like I said, I didn't intend to try to push it through. I wanted to start the discussion. I mean, there are enough people that think we should allow something, so I think we should look at allowing something. So good. Have Larry take you down there. That way you got a flashing light on the truck. Go ahead, Stephanie. Sorry.
I was just going to say, following up from Councillor Vaki's comment, we will have to follow up with the DNR, and I can do that prior to our next meeting as far as boat launching. If you're depending on the size of the boat, there'll be restrictions on all of those types of things too. If we're looking at not restricting the size of the boat, we'll have to have the proper launch. So I can follow up with them and just see what their guidance is too.
That'd be good. Yeah, we might have to, if they're putting boats in there, we might have to post some of that invasive species stuff and whatnot too. So see what you can find out. Like I said, I just wanted to start the discussion today, and everybody kind of gather their thoughts, and maybe next meeting we can have a real discussion and try to hone in on where this thing might land. Adam, did you want to chime in?
Yeah. I think we have a resource down there that we need to try to capitalize on. Getting people to come to our communities. You look at what Buell can do with their pit, water skiing, kneeboarding, people out enjoying it. We're never going to use this lake. At the time that we're going to actually be able to launch a boat and have a beach and people come and swim inside our community, we would all love that to happen. I just don't see that happening. And we have a pit right next door that's huge. There's plenty of room. If you want to restrict motor size, maybe a 40 horse and a small fishing boat or something like that. But I think if you make it so people can use it, people will use it and they will come here. We don't want to make it more difficult to have people come and use this right in our backyard. I didn't grow up in Chisholm, so I didn't use the pit. But a lot of people here have been using that pit their entire life and getting back there. Maybe not legally, but maybe we should make it so it is legal for them to get back there. I know MDC has the rights to run a shuttle back there and haul people in their gear. And then they get to charge people for that. Maybe we can make something where, you can get a permit. You have a car that you're going to come back in there. First, you're going to have to register with us, just like going into a state park. A reason to come in there that the city can make some money off it. But again, making it beneficial for everybody inside the community and people that come here to visit. Not trying to restricting noise. I get it. We want to have kayakers down there and paddle boarders, but we can all intermingle. We do it on every single lake in Minnesota. There's no reason we can't do it in a pit in our backyard. I just think that we should be a little proactive with that and, keep that in our thoughts while we start with our restrictions.
Thank you, Adam. April, Cheyenne, either one you want to chime in at this time?
Mr. Mayor, I really enjoy Stephanie's information that she would contact the DNR, because I think we should really go by their rules and guidelines. So I really appreciate that. And I think that if we can do it, let's do it. Build it and they will come. Absolutely.
Thank you. Cheyenne, any thoughts?
I guess I'm struggling to visualize the area, but I tend to agree that if it's something that we can allow, then I would love to see people using it and to have it as an option for our community and the people that are coming from outside of our community to the trail. So I'm going to try and get down there to just kind of go look at the area, but I also agree contacting DNR and making sure that we have all of that information would be really useful.
Good. So I think one concern, I don't know if anybody thought of it at all, but it's not a lake. It's got no inlet, no outlet to it. So, the water that's in there is basically the water that's in there. So you got to be kind of a little bit careful about how you end up polluting it too. So that'll be a thought. You put some bigger motors in there running back and forth, and you could actually goof it up a little bit. So just a thought when we start having a discussion. So yeah, reach out to Larry. If he's not available, maybe he can have one of his crew take you guys down there. Good to have the city vehicle, the light on top of it to go down there. So feel free to reach out to him. That's all I wanted to do with this tonight. I just want to start the discussion, give you a little thought, let you think about it. So we'll move on for tonight, and we'll bring that back next meeting. Anybody else got anything on that before we move on? All right. Last item under our regular meeting here, other than the annual review from Andy, is this Costco request. I seen it in my email. I didn't really know if it was legit or not. It appears to be legit. They're not asking for a lot. They're just asking if we have any restrictions on them reaching out to businesses to set up like tents to try to get people to shop at Costco. Mandy, you still on with us? Yeah, you're still on. Any thoughts? We don't have any restrictions on anything like this, do we, that you're concerned about?
We don't. We would want them to apply for a permit with a site plan showing exactly where they're going to put the tent and, whose property it's going to be on. The council would approve their request if it is going to be on city right of way.
Would you be the person to reply to Mr. Rob Wood?
I can definitely.
Stephanie, does that seem appropriate?
Yes, that's fine. Thank you.
So, council, we don't need to do anything on it. If you want to direct Mandy through a motion, we can to reach out to Rob Wood with Costco and just let him know what our rules are, that they should get a permit and let us know kind of a site plan of where they're going to do this. I'll entertain that motion. Let's just do it. I think it's a good idea. Motion to direct the building official to.
I'll make that motion. Is it a solicitor permit?
No, it would actually be a temporary building permit to make sure setbacks are within what we're requesting. And actually, council would need to approve the site plan if it is on city right of way.
Okay.
All right, I'll make that motion for Mandy to do that. Thank you, Mandy, for doing that.
Second for April's motion.
Support.
Thank you, Cheyenne. Further discussion? Margaret?
Counselor Halverson,
Aye.
Counselor Mikuláraha,
Aye.
Counselor Fountain,
Aye.
Counselor Lance,
Aye.
Counselor Vaki,
Aye.
Mayor Champa.
Aye. The motion carries. The council last item is an annual review for our building official. To be honest with you, I don't know which official we're supposed to review. I know we do our administrator, we do our building official, and I know we did one with our fire chief one time. We did one with our city engineer one time. I'm gonna have to get with Stephanie and Brian probably and try to figure out which way that we do that. But I do know we've done this with Mandy in the past, so I don't think there's any harm in it. Reason it's on the agenda, she's going to be, Mandy, when's your contract renewing? October, is it?
October 1st
Okay.
is when my contract should renew, yes.
So I didn't, we'll bring her contract back for renewal. But tonight, all I wanted to do, and this is up to Mandy, if she wants to close the meeting, we'll throw everybody out except the council. And we'll do a review. All I wanted to do with Mandy tonight is if you have some things you'd like to, what's the word, admonish her about her job performance, you're allowed to do it tonight. If you want to give her a pat on the back for things that you really like about what she does, that's what it's for. That's all we're going to do. We're going to just pats and slaps or whatever you would call it. So, Mandy, do you want to leave this open, or do you want to go to a closed session?
Mayor, I'm comfortable with leaving it open. I feel I can talk candidly about my position, and if there's any constructive criticism, I'd be happy to take that as well.
Okay, good. So we'll leave it open. Mandy, I'm going to start.
Okay.
I'm going to start. I'll break the ice. When I look at any like department head type of individual, I always look at how many phone calls I get. Phone calls that, can you talk to so-and-so? I've been calling and I can't get nothing done and da-da-da. And with you, I get very few.
Oh, good.
I get very few. There are some things that we need to address in Chisholm. It seems like every once in a while we have a situation where something comes up, it's unusual, and it's hard to figure out whose desk it was supposed to be on. A good example would be we sell somebody a lot for $1, they build their building, and then they're trying to figure out how to get their money back. And it was news to me that the attorney actually, they have what do they call it? It's an actual account that they put their money in, and he reissues the check after you do substantial completion and final approval on the building or whatever. So some of that sometimes doesn't go real streamlined, but other than that, usually if somebody is doing something that, I see myself and it doesn't seem quite right, you've already been there. I don't know who tells you, but you've usually been there. You've already talked to them. So no real concerns on my side of the desk. I get very few calls about you. You got a tough job, all right? You charge people money. You charge people money to do things they want to do. So, and then you got to be the bearer of bad news. You got to follow the rules, and you got to write me a check, and we'll give you a permit. So it's a tough job to start with. And for a relatively young person in the field you're in, I believe you do a pretty good job. So I'll just open it up to the rest. I'll just open it up to the rest of the council to share their thoughts with you, and then we'll when we're all done, we'll adjourn the meeting. So, council, anybody else want to chime in on Andy?
Mr. Mayor, I would like to.
Go ahead, Travis.
All right. Hi, Mandy.
Hi.
All right. So from my perspective, I think that you do a fabulous job. I do think that there are times where your job is definitely a no-win situation, specifically dealing with some ordinances that we've dealt with this past year, that you scuttled through the mud with us on. So I appreciate that. I know that when I've called you, I've never even had to leave a message because you've always picked up for me, which is a big thing for me. So I appreciate that. The only, it's not even constructive criticism. The only thing that I think that from my end that I haven't followed up with you on yet is I know the EDA was looking for a list of open lots in town. And I don't know if that's been completed or if we have that in hand. I guess I don't have it myself, but
Okay.
but other than that, I think you do a fabulous job. You are a huge asset to us, and thank you for all that you do.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you, Travis. Anyone else?
I would like to say a few things, Mr. Mayor, if that's all right.
Go ahead, April.
All right. Thank you, Mandy, for everything that you do for the city of Chisholm. If I had a scale of, you'd get 10 out of 10 for sure. You've got great communication. You're very honest, dependable. You're definitely a team player. Your quality of work is great, especially with grant writing. We really appreciate that, saving the money for the citizens of Chisholm. You take initiative right away when something comes your way. And like Councilor Vaki says, you're always at your phone. You'll answer that phone right away. You'll get the job done. And you are very intelligent, especially when it comes to building official responsibilities and codes. So I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you, April.
Yeah, I'll say
Adam?
a couple things. Yeah, I'm Andy. So obviously I work with you on the planning and zoning. I've never had an issue. You've always answered the questions that I've had. I would just constructive criticism on my part. I think that there are some people, they said you're in a very tough position and people don't always understand what it is that they have to do. So I have had some calls, as far as, what am I allowed to do? Okay, well, how do I find out? A lot of the stuff is technical. If I do this, I can do that. I can do this, I can do that. So I just think more people might need a little more help, hand holding, if you want to call it that, as far as through the jobs as in the residents. And, and I think they deserve that just because, they pay the salary. But I think just that one more step of engagement with them would go a long way. But I think it's been great. We had a couple things at the planning and zoning board. If there was any permits, I don't know if there's any way to have more engagement as far as when people do their site plans to, have somebody with, oh, my light is out again. But, just making sure if somebody can even verify if somebody's going to put up a fence, hey, well, this is actually where your property line is, I can't upside down paint, and just kind of to double check that. But, like I said, everything has been wonderful. You do hard work. You're always answering your phone. I can't reiterate what everybody else said enough, but I think we're lucky to have you. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Adam. Anybody else? Cheyenne?
Yes. Hey, Mandy. Just to echo what everybody else has already said, you're awesome. I really appreciate your communication and being so knowledgeable and prompt with your responses. You're incredible, and I'm very thankful to have you as part of our team.
Thank you.
Mandy, just to follow up, on the planning and zoning, you and I have had this discussion that I've heard from some people on the planning and zoning that, that you're their staff person there. And I do know they appreciate that when you come to those meetings that you come there with an opinion of what you believe to be the right or wrong thing when a planning is having to make a decision, and then following through with it when it gets back to the council. So like I said, I have heard from some planning zoning people that they would like to definitely hear your opinion and then have your opinion still be the same when it gets to the council. So but you and I have discussed that. So like I said, as a staff person, that is what they expect from you. So anything else, council? Early meeting tonight's only 6:50. Earliest one. You guys all did your work. We took everything up and already this year. So if we got nothing else, we'll look for motion to adjourn.
Just because it's Stephanie's birthday.
Yes, I do have a quick question, and maybe it is for Attorney Lindsay. So my contract is October through the end of September. Do we want to do a 3-month contract and then have it renew every year this time? Would that make the most sense and be the easiest for people?
And Mayor, if I may.
Yes, go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, I don't think that's a bad idea. And what we could do is we could just attach an addendum to your contract that it will run an additional 3 months and that the new contract will commence. Basically just do an addendum that's a stopgap between now and the first of the year. And then we could have it run in concurrently with the calendar year, which may make some sense given appointments and things like that.
Right.
Brian, it would be appropriate, wouldn't it, to just sort of make this a 15-month approval then, so that it's just, we're not doing 2 approvals?
We could do that as well.
Okay. I mean, that'd be better. I don't see a reason to do a 3-month and a 12-month, you know. So, all right, so you guys can work out the details of that when we bring it back for probably the next meeting, I suppose. Council, if there's nothing else, motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, April. Second for the motion.
Support.
Motion by April, second by Cheyenne. All in favor, say aye.
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 Anybody nay? All right. This meeting is adjourned. Everybody have a great evening. Hopefully we'll see you uptown on Saturday for the Schnorr Mud Fest.
Happy birthday, Stephanie.